Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. We're doing something a little differently because it is the holidays, it is Thanksgiving. I don't know how many people are going to be able to watch these videos and whatnot, but I still wanted to create some content for people. As I said in my other video, I've had plenty of Thanksgivings where I've been completely 100% alone or even had to work and stuff. And so I don't know what everyone's all up to. Sometimes people are going to be with family. Sometimes people are not going to be with family or just doing whatever. So I did want to put out some videos for people to watch in case there is a need or a want. But I figured I'd do something a little bit more different since there's only so much to talk about right now. And these shows aren't airing at all. So I figured I'd go back in time. This is now Mahomes Mountain going into week 1. So it's going to be pretty funny to see how all this ages. I literally had just recorded the NFL team tiers, and it was pretty funny. It was a good one to see how poorly some of the takes aged and how some of them aged very, correctly. And if you haven't watched that video, definitely please do check that one out as well. But I also do want to emphasize that this is not meant to be like a gotcha or haha, you're wrong. Everybody's going to be wrong at times when you're just talking about anything sports related, but especially when you're trying to predict what something will look like, in week 1, literally in, when was this? September 3rd. And now it's obviously November 28th, or I'm recording this on November 27th, but this will post on Thanksgiving, November 28th. So again, this is not meant to be a gotcha or haha, again, you're wrong, I'm right type of a situation. This is honestly just meant for fun and just to kind of see what they were saying back then and compare it through these November eyes. So let's jump right into it.
28 guys can make the mountain, but of course there's 32 starting quarterbacks in this league, or 32 people who have to start games at quarterback. Whether it's actually 32 starting quarterbacks, I'm not sure. So sadly, before the year even begins, we must show you the 4 who are off the mountain.
Tough one.
3 guys that Kevin Wildes at various times in their career, and Darnold, Daniel
Sam
Jones,
Darnold,
have been like, hey, he's good.
I never said Sam Darnold was good. Seeing ghosts?
Wildes?
With Justin Jefferson.
I'm telling you, there are guys, Darnold, you have believed in at times. We know Daniel Jones, and Jacoby Brissett, I think, is in somewhere in your top 20. I do. But it doesn't matter. Those 4 guys are off the mountain. All right, now, row 7, guys 22 through 28. 4 rookies or second-year players in Jaden, Bo Nix, Will Levis, and Bryce Young. 1 career journeyman in Gardner Minshew, another one of KW's guys. Look at his numbers. And then 2 guys who are just washed in Derek Carr and Bruce guy, Russell Wilson. They are at the bottom of the quarterback mountain. And now we get to guys 6.
Oh, that's so funny. Russell Wilson is washed as he's leading the divisional leader with the Pittsburgh Steelers, who has been playing very, very well. Funny to see Jaden Daniels at the way bottom. He was right, obviously, with some of the other quarterbacks. Very wrong with Daniel Jones. Carr was clearly not washed. Carr got injured. He looked pretty good when he was healthy, obviously, with the New Orleans Saints, but things kind of derailed their season. But I don't think anyone could say that Carr is washed. That's way too strong of a term. But it is funny to see Jaden at the way, way bottom, on the same level as Will Levis and Bryce Young. No way. And we know recently, especially, Nix has been balling. Nix has been absolutely balling, no question about it. But I guess, I don't know, Will Levis, man, he turned a corner? Is he about to climb up the mountain now?
16 through 21 speaks to the depth at quarterback in this league at row 6. So look at this.
What?
You have 4 guys who were taken in the top 5, 2 guys who have led the league in passer rating, someone who's led the league in passing yards, a comeback player of the year, a league leader in completion percentage, and a rookie of the year. And by the way, that's not all. Purdy's done the passer rating, Tua's done the yards, Baker's done actually none of those. Baker's just my guy. Oh, the top pick. Thank you. Geno was actually, believe it or not, league leader in completion percentage.
Yeah.
And Anthony Richardson was another one of the top picks. So I think there's obviously a big drop between the top quarterbacks of the league and everyone else. There's also a big drop between this row and everyone beneath them. Like the top 20-ish or so, you can do more than just win games with. You can really compete with. All right.
So now, I actually don't mind this. I mean, obviously, if you move Richardson, it's not to say that all those quarterbacks are the same or that they should be this low or that, they're on like the same level as one another. But like these are all quarterbacks that that have such strengths, but also definitely some limitations and weaknesses. I know most people are going to be upset with having Purdy all the way down there in that group. Tua's obviously this season has been just plagued with that, with his concussions and stuff like that, but he's been balling and playing great. Purdy has had, I think Purdy has actually played very well this season, despite kind of what's been going on with him. And Kyler Murray's been a little up and down. Baker has definitely impressed me considering all the injuries that his team has been dealing with. And Geno has impressed me this season as well. It just seems like a lot of these quarterbacks, especially, and again, we can move Richardson from this, although it's probably applicable as well, is that this group of quarterbacks is very, very tied to their team and their coach. And I think like what they'll be able to accomplish or not accomplish. It's not to say that these quarterbacks can't overcome some of the limitations that are thrown their way. It's just I just feel as though they'll be more tied to it. But again, it is really funny to see someone like a Richardson, or quite frankly, Baker and Geno over Jaden Daniels. I understand Jaden Daniels has cooled off a little bit these last few weeks, but I'm taking Jaden Daniels over Baker Mayfield and Geno Smith any day of the week. It's not even close for me, quite frankly. And honestly, at this point, I'm probably also going to be taking Bo Nix as well over them. So just because I think the potential is through the roof.
Now we get to the top 15, row 5. So this row really runs the gamut of careers. Jordan Love, a kind of head-scratching first-round pick who sat for 3 years, and then when he finally got to play, didn't look like much of anything, and then bam, now all of a sudden he's a trendy MVP pick, Super Bowl pick. Jared Goff, #1 pick, bad, then awesome, then bad again, awesome now again, and highly paid. Aaron Rodgers, once upon a time amazing, now we don't know, and the oldest quarterback in the league. Kirk Cousins, basically the same guy forever. I'm solid. I'm Kirk Cousins. I'm solid. You know what you're going to get from me. And Jalen Hurts, another guy who from college to the pros within his pro career, a bit of a roller coaster of expectation and performance, but those guys are top 15. Now we get to the top 10. This is just an electric row. Guys 7 through 10. No.
An electric row. Dak and the Prince. Well, I'll obviously let that play. But I just wanted to kind of look and see who was directly above this row when looking at Love, Goff, Cousins, Hurts. Obviously, Rodgers has not looked great with the New York Jets. The New York Jets are just an absolute mess. I feel as though Rodgers could still ball, and I think he's, I think what he's been able to do at times or with games has been decent. I think Rodgers, more than anything, hurt himself because he, going into the season, I said so much of this offense is going to be run through the vision of Aaron Rodgers, and we're going to find out how much does Aaron Rodgers fundamentally know what it takes to execute, not to execute an offense, but to what the appropriate game plan, play calling, etc. throughout a game is. And I think it's obvious that Rodgers did not pass that test at this point in his career. Maybe because he can't overcome or do what he was once able to do. And maybe if you rewind the clock a little bit, 5 years ago, he would have been able to be more of a player coach, and I say that very, very loosely compared to right now, but it's clear to me that I think Aaron Rodgers could still have legitimate success if he had an actual top coach. If Kevin O'Connell, Andy Reid, McVay, whoever was actually the coach, then they would be able to be significantly better. The problem is Aaron Rodgers doesn't feel like he would listen and actually accept what those coaches would say to him, which is an Aaron Rodgers problem. I mean, that absolutely positively falls on Aaron Rodgers, no question about it. But so I'll kind of just throw that to a side. I think Cousins has looked pretty good and obviously has had some unbelievable games. But it's I think potentially age and his Achilles, his literal Achilles heel, has kind of potentially caught up for him. I'm interested to see what he looks like next year, actually, to see if like any of his injuries or Achilles or age is completely behind him. But yeah, I mean, I'm certainly not counting out Kirk Cousins to kind of ball out and have a great game, and that's where you then bring me to Love, Goff, and Hurts. I mean, what can you say bad about Jared Goff right now? The dude is absolutely balling, and to think that anyone can just effortlessly execute that offense, like to think that, Ben Johnson just runs a super basic elementary football 101 offense, like absolutely not. Jared Goff does not get enough credit for what the Detroit Lions do offensively. He is an elite playmaker from the pocket and deserves a tremendous amount of praise and credit. And I think Jordan Love, I understand people are kind of low on Jordan Love these days because of, some of his interceptions and stuff like that. And I had actually just recorded a whole bunch of videos talking about Jordan Love and his interceptions, so I won't kind of go on too long of a rant, but I think he is a legitimate special quarterback. And if you actually just watch him play and see some of the throws that the dude makes, he just it's beautiful ball, man. It just is beautiful ball, no question about it. And Jalen Hurts, speaking of a beautiful ball, throws a beautiful deep ball. Is he the most perfect elite pocket passer in the history of the NFL? Obviously, absolutely, positively not. What he does with his legs, along with his decision making and how he's been taking care of the ball now, and his ability to throw the deep ball to AJ, to Devontae, to Dallas Goedert, whoever, like, the dude can obviously ball. I already went through the stats, although I didn't do it in this one. I'll do it. Let me see her real fast. Like I showed you, and as I've already established, I'm not saying that Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes are the same, or that they're on the same level, or that I'm going to pick Jalen Hurts over Patrick Mahomes. That's not what I'm saying. I've already emphasized that. But we can see that Jalen Hurts is not a scrub. We can see that. And people want to say, well, Jalen Hurts has had a better team or whatever. And it's like, maybe. And again, don't act like Andy Reid isn't worth his weight in gold, okay? Like, let's not pretend like that. Not to mention, what was the Eagles? What was his name? Brian John? I forget his name. The OC for the Philadelphia Eagles last year. Let's not act like that wasn't a major like weight weighing down Jalen Hurts and that offense. Not to mention injuries as well. So we can see how much of a difference maker Kellen Moore has been, along with someone like a Saquon Barkley. But really what this shows to you more than anything is, one, stats aren't everything, number one, and number two, Jalen Hurts does not get a lot of respect right now. He is definitely underappreciated, and I think because even as the season unfolded, Nick Wright even brought Jalen Hurts even down, because I'm pretty sure he had him even as a bottom 15 quarterback.
No one denies the raw talent for any of these four guys. Three of these four have gaudy regular season numbers and really struggle come the postseason. One of these guys doesn't have a great regular season resume, but has one of the greatest postseason comebacks in league history to his name, and that is players 7 through 10. It's just the facts. I'm sorry. You guys can scoff at the Prince, but he has a quarter of all the playoff wins of the row. So take it up with someone else. Now, guys, 4 through...
It's so insane. I didn't even realize this. I had to have made a big deal when I did this video back in September, because now we're going to obviously see Caleb Williams above like Lamar Jackson and stuff like that. But seeing Lamar Jackson and Justin Herbert on the same level as Dak Prescott is so jarring. And Trevor Lawrence. I give Trevor Lawrence a little bit of the benefit of the doubt because of his situation where he is. I think Dak Prescott is it's tough because of ownership and Jerry Jones and all of that. But I do believe at the core of it. I know this season, obviously things got away and some injuries and whatnot. But I do think that ultimately Dak has been in a more consistent, better place team, than why can't I keep thinking of his name? Trevor Lawrence. And so I think we essentially have seen the peak of what Dak is. I think arguably if you maybe, again, were able to get him, obviously, like an Andy Reid or Sean McVay, Shanahan, you would get another notch more, but like only so much more. There's only so much more you're going to be able to get out of Dak, honestly. With Trevor Lawrence, I think it is possible that he could have like a potential like Sam Darnold leap in abilities if you give him like the right coach and the right team. I don't know. I don't have super strong feelings about Trevor Lawrence at this point because I'm not really so sure who Doug Peterson. And again, maybe it's the opposite. Maybe Trevor Lawrence really is just not that good. And Doug Peterson actually is a really good coach, but he doesn't have the quarterback. So it's like it's a little bit harder to kind of figure that out. I knew without a shadow of a doubt Kevin O'Connell is a great offensive head coach, and so if Sam Darnold didn't work there, I was not going to be like, well, I don't know, maybe Kevin. Like I wouldn't question that. So when I saw Sam Darnold obviously improve, you could be like, yeah, that is Kevin O'Connell's touch. That is what he's been able to do. But yeah, I mean, again, seeing Lamar Jackson, especially on the level as Dak and Trevor Lawrence, is just insanity. And I've made my opinion very well known about Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert's a top quarterback in the NFL. He is an absolute bona fide just baller. I mean, he is truly special, and we're only starting to see a little bit of that right now with Harbaugh and the Chargers. Make no mistake about it, the Chargers are not this from a roster construction standpoint, they do not have the pieces. They are not ready to go, and it's going to take a second for Harbaugh just to also get reintegrated in the NFL as well. And so their relationship, their connection is a work in progress, but it is just going to go higher and higher and higher and higher. I am very confident about that. But yeah, obviously the thing that stands out more than anything is just Lamar. Like Lamar's down there, and who's now above him? Caleb Williams, and who else now?
6. What a moment for the Mountain.
I mean, this list.
I mean, this is
CJ Stroud.
I imagine this is as close as an analyst as one could feel as to when LeBron is going to take the court with Bronny. And it's like, man, all grown up. It's my Caleb take finally come to fruition. A man that I had the boldness to put on the mountain as a sophomore in college, put high on the mountain as a junior in college,
and you were wrong.
Now finds himself on the introductory mountain as a top 6 quarterback. And look at the company that he's in. Oh, have you checked these guys' rivals pages? Because they're quite similar.
Yeah.
I mean, they are the number one, and number 3 quarterbacks in their class.
Football.
They all 3 went to prestige big-time universities with championship pedigree, and they are 3 of the most physically gifted, talented throwers of the football in the league, bar none. You guys.
So it's funny because he now has been ripping CJ Stroud and saying, hey, he's got problems. What's going on with him? And I've been defending CJ Stroud, actually. But here's the thing about Caleb Williams. If you have the boldness to put Caleb Williams above Lamar and Herbert and all these other people and make them top 6, yada, 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 and be wrong, but eventually Caleb Williams becomes the top quarterback in the NFL, does that make you right? Because I don't think it does. Because I think Caleb Williams will be a top quarterback in the NFL. I really do. I think Caleb Williams will be special. I've said that from day one. Like, me and Nick have always agreed in that regard about believing Caleb Williams. But I also, like, it's like, what makes you right then? Because you have to be accurate today. You're not always projecting into the future. You just can't do that. It's like if I believed, which I don't necessarily believe, if I believed that Justin Herbert could become the second best quarterback in the NFL, the best quarterback in the NFL, right? Him and the Chargers are just going to run and they win back-to-back Super Bowls starting next year, right? And he's just been balling. I believe that he could actually win back-to-back Super Bowls within the next couple of years. I believe that's a legit possibility if they obviously get a little lucky with draft and free agency and stuff like that. I believe, again, they could be a legitimate top team and Herbert will be on fire. But if I believe that prediction, does that mean that I have to now put Justin Herbert at the top of the mountain and be like, it's going to happen, only for that to be wrong week after week after week, even like an entire year or so, and be just completely wrong? But then eventually he wins a Super Bowl and gets the MVP, and I'm like, see, I told you, a classic 2 or whatever. Like, I don't know about that. I don't know if it works that way. I'd rather be able to accurately assess the situation, not only today, but then also be able to project and predict a little bit in the future. So I don't know, man. I don't know. because obviously right now Caleb Williams is not there. I think he's got the potential, but this is not potential mountain. This is quarterback mountain.
You can scoff and laugh now. I wish I had had the foresight to put CJ up this high on the mountain last year. You wouldn't be laughing then. Now to the top 3. This is the actual modern-day Brady Manning. It's Burrow, the guy with the intangibles, the leadership, kind of just raw winner, and Josh Allen, the guy with all the physical traits, can make all the throws, but in the biggest spots, we don't know yet if he has the it. The problem is the modern-day Brady Manning are competing with the modern-day, if I may mix my metaphors, Secretariat. Are you guys familiar with Sham and Our Nature? Of course not, except for the fact, go ahead and show row 1. Those are the horses. They both finished 2nd and 3rd at the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness in 1973. Either one of them could have won a Triple Crown, but nobody cares. You know why? Because they were competing with Secretariat. That's what Burrow and Josh Allen is.
Josh Allen has always shown to step up in those moments. What are you talking about? Oh my God. Of course he's always stepped up. He's got the best touchdown to interception ratio in the history of the playoffs. He's not why, I've already said this so many times, he's not why the Buffalo Bills lose. He won that game against the Kansas City Chiefs in that famous, game that they had between each other. He left the field with the lead. He did his job. Like, what do you want from him? He stepped up. And he stepped up against the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs last year. Hitting his wide receivers in the hands. Okay? They're the ones that dropped it. He had to be the leading rusher. He had more completions than Patrick Mahomes had passing attempts. Bonkers. Josh Allen was also almost the leading rusher for the entire game. Okay? He steps up. It's not his fault that his receivers drop the ball or that his field goal kicker misses. I forget, was it a field goal or extra point or both at this point? We question whether or not he can step up. That's madness. I wonder if I caught that the first time around way back in September, because that's madness.
To Patrick Mahomes. They both could be legends. Unfortunately, the legendary player of the history of the sport is in their era and in their conference. And if we can just show it one more time, Dusty, if we may, the full rendition of the mountain. That is, for week 1 of 2020, pardon? Because the team thought he's a workman's comp risk if they.
I really thought that this was going to be better than it was, and I thought that with a whole off season and time to reflect that it wasn't going to be just take justification.
What do you mean?
What's the what it feels like?
That's a great.
And the idea that you have the Prince where he is, and I know you've been in love with him since he came out, and you created his nickname and all those things. But last season, he lost 5 out of his last 6 games. Yeah. He was a turnover machine. Yeah. And then you love him as much as you hate Brock Purdy.
I don't hate him.
And I've been slow. Okay, as much as you put Brock Purdy down. But just you've got him two tiers below where the Prince is. Put up their combined or their head-to-head statistics, and you know that I am slow to adapt to Brock Purdy, but he showed so much last season in terms of his ability to come back and play in difficult situations, which we hadn't seen. But look at how staggering the difference is in numbers, and the fact that the Prince folded late in the season last year, and as much as you want to propel him up the mountain, at some point, he's got to actually propel himself up the mountain with the way that he plays, and you got to stop putting you create avalanches on Brock Purdy and don't let him climb.
All right, so listen, I mean, there was a nice little turn of phrase there. Unfortunately, I fear, that this is just going to be the Prince, trash session because of I don't know what Brew has planned. But if I may, about Brock Purdy for a moment, the numbers are outstanding. But much like when we do the tiers tomorrow, if you want the standings, where do you go, Wilds?
You got to find a USA Today. Yeah. Go to the Rats.
Wait,
allow me to finish. No. I let you go on and on. You allow me to finish.
One guy's in the Super Bowl, one guy's at home.
If you would, and the last guy to be in the Super Bowl for the Niners, Jimmy Garoppolo. Where's he on the mountain? Wait, he's a Sherpa for somebody because he can't get a job anymore.
Well, we know
but if you, just like I was saying, if you want the standings, you go to USA Today. If you want rankings by quarterback, quarterback rating. Football Reference is a great free for anyone website. You click it, 2023 leaders, sort by, and you've got it. This is a rich tapestry of many factors, and that we are trying to evaluate quarterbacks in a vacuum in a team sport. So it's not purely going to be the team success.
First
if
of
your
all,
guys only
Wait a second.
But go ahead.
Come on.
It's going to be the team success. Quarterbacks in a vacuum in a team sport. So it's not purely going to be the team success or the numbers. It's going to be all of the.
Wow. It's not just going to be the team success. Yet he always wants to use that team success as a reference point for you know who, and to use it against also we know who. That's interesting. I wish I could remember that, and I gotta really take a second to remember that so I can use that in a clip that will actually matter in the future for when he says, well, look at this team, they're 3-0, and it's like, that's a team stat, not an individual stat.
The above.
Interesting.
Brew, but go ahead.
Come on,
let's just
I
make the
don't
whole.
know. I don't know where to begin.
Let's just call it Trevor Lawrence Trash Hour if that's all you guys.
First
if
of
your
all,
guys only critique
Well,
Let me say this. You could have saved all the horse racing metaphors and references by just saying what I said 6 years ago. He's Jordan Allen or Karl Malone kept from winning championships. So that would have saved you a little time. Caleb obviously too high.
Why?
Lamar obviously too low. Because Caleb is not better than Lamar Jackson right now. Lamar Jackson, 2-time MVP, 1-time unanimous.
Okay.
All right, let's see him get there first to the playoffs. And I look, I didn't know where Coach was going, but I didn't mean for this to be a Prince bashing session.
We'll skip that. We don't need that
Should
all.
be below the next 7 guys that are named after the Prince. From Jordan Love, you got to show me more of the mountain for where the Prince really should be.
What do you?
From Jordan Love to Tua.
Well, it's not
That's where the Prince should be.
It's not left.
All right, he should be after those guys, and I got her on the mountain.
I'm asking you.
He should be higher on the mountain.
Who do you
I'm
think's
about to
better?
show you the evidence.
Okay,
All
please.
right. Since there's no reason to put Trevor Lawrence this high on the mountain, except that he was the Gatorade High School Player of the Year. That's it.
Oh, really?
That's what you get. That's like one of your main.
One of the greatest comebacks in playoff history.
God, stop saying
Why
that.
did they have to
Please
come
stop saying
back?
that.
Because he had one of the
You
worst
don't mind that
first
with Brock
halves.
Purdy, but everything Brock Purdy
Purdy
when he
didn't
was
do
lighting out on
anything
fire
like-
and then put it out, you give him all the flowers.
Did Purdy ever throw 4 interceptions and a half?
No,
Is that what
Shanahan wouldn't
the
let
Prince
him.
did? All right,
Shanahan
here's
run
the
the
second
ball.
thing. Since the Prince entered the league,
Oh, we're going to hold
3 years. 3 years. Well, he played. Look at this graphic. He leads the league in turnovers since he entered the league.
Yeah, second is
leads
Josh
the league
Allen,
in
who you
fumbles
love.
lost. Yeah, but Josh Allen has the most touchdowns. That's the difference. The Prince is like 15th or 14th or something.
I love it.
Passer rating. He's 28th
So wait, he has
out of
categories
32
he's not worse
quarterbacks.
than? This feels like cherry picking.
Look at
But
that.
if we're going to do
28 out of
numbers.
30.
Coach,
Okay.
you notice the one thing you do not want your quarterback to do is turn the football over. And he
Brew,
does that
I
more
have
than
a
anybody in the
question.
league.
Hold on, show my
He's a
rankings and
machine.
then we're gonna
Hey.
show and then I'm gonna give Brew a fun little stat test. Brew, do you have a problem with my Joe Burrow ranking?
It's fine.
Okay. Do you have a problem with my Aaron Rodgers ranking?
It's a little high.
It's all right.
It's high.
all right.
But okay.
We have no.
it's
He's
fine.
a mystery.
But they were terrible last year, right?
Yes.
Well, Rodgers didn't play.
Why?
no
Hold on.
information.
Why?
He was injured.
He was. Oh, thank you for saying that. Can we do a blind
Was
reveal,
the
please?
Prince injured?
Because Coach.
Because
likes
the
to-
Prince played
Hold on.
like 16
Can I just
games.
ask you guys this? Can you guys tell me right there on this graphic? Do you
Talk about cherry
Is no? It's nothing. It's last year through 12 weeks. 3 quarterbacks. Now, I would say the quarterback on the left obviously has the least production, but it's just the touchdown interceptions is. Do we agree those are all at least in the same ballpark? Do we have any guess? Obviously, one of them is Trevor Lawrence. Anybody want to guess on who the others are? Anybody want to guess?
It's a 17-game
I understand.
season.
And a guy, and
he
same,
had a nice
hold on.
stretch.
Same with Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow got hurt. Trevor played through the injury, so we kill him for
Burrow,
it.
I don't think was great last year.
Who's the
So
middle
he had a
one?
few.
well, we'll show
nice
you all of
little
them.
run.
Reveal them, please. Let's see who it is. Oh, I'm sorry. Trevor, the GOAT,
Mahomes
and the
wasn't
MVP.
great.
I'm just
Mahomes
telling you what
wasn't
it
great
is.
last year.
I'm just
You
telling
know
you what
that.
it is. So you guys
And
can
Lamar's
all...
a rusher, not just a passer.
Okay, well, he won league MVP
They
playing
lost
quarterback.
This is actually pretty perfect because look what he's trying to be like. See, Trevor Lawrence is actually a legitimate top quarterback and all this, and he's using these types of stats as a frame of reference, which only solidifies then me using and validates me using the Hurts to Mahomes comparison. Okay, that's perfect. And it's so funny because also that works on so many different levels, because one, it's like, hey, if Nick Wright, if you want to play that game, well then, hey, you got to put Jalen Hurts up there. But listen, for all those people that say, oh my God, I can't believe you're comparing Jalen Hurts to Patrick Mahomes, I assume that means you absolutely love Patrick Mahomes and you can't understand that comparisons do not mean equality. Well, that means you're probably a big Nick Wright fan, because Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City Chiefs. Well, look, is he saying that Patrick Mahomes is that Trevor Lawrence is the same as Patrick Mahomes? Exactly. I rest my case. I rest it.
5 out of their final 6 games.
Okay.
And the owner is.
Well, let's get
actually
through.
with the Jags.
I don't want to talk about Trevor
Iron
Lawrence.
sharpens iron. Just say he's up there because iron sharpens iron.
And the owners felt Trevor Trash Hour and someone's can on head.
I'm supposed to do golf. All my graphics were golf, but I'm going to take a preamble. No, because you got Lamar too low.
Well, yes, absolutely.
What Lamar won MVP.
I said he
Why
should be.
CJ Stroud? Because they played head-to-head twice, and Lamar won both times. Joe Burrow didn't play, but as Brew always says, who owns Joe Burrow?
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson. It's just very, very frustrating that you have Lamar down so low because he had one bad game against a great defense against the Super Bowl champions. They actually came in second place. Like, oh, they didn't make it a Super Bowl.
No, it would have been third place.
No, because they played the second place team and destroyed them in San Francisco.
Okay, so
Yes,
I'm just real quick before we get to golf on the Lamar thing.
Go.
And I appreciate you defending Lamar. Where do you think it would be fair on a preseason 5 years ago NBA ranking to have James Harden when he was second in MVP, first in MVP, second in MVP, second in MVP?
I don't believe.
Would it have been?
I don't believe in James Harden. I think James Harden is empty stats.
Yeah.
That doesn't contribute.
Lamar's empty stats.
Well, hold on,
win.
but he's certainly and James Harden's regular season win percentage when he was peak James Harden was neck and neck with anybody in the league. Led the league in wins, 65 wins with the Rockets, all this stuff. But every year we saw the same thing in the playoffs. Every
Those are all takes that we've already heard now a million times. We've literally heard this just this past week already, so we don't have to, there's no like time jump here that makes that interesting, because this is just, this is just the greatest hits at this point. But yeah, what do you guys all think about this? Let me see. There it is. What do you guys all think about this mountain? This September 3rd. Is that what it is, right? September 3rd mountain. We know it should not be called Mahomes Mountain. That right now on November 28th, 2024, it should be Josh Allen's Avalanche, or Allen's Alpine. We have one subscriber that thinks that it should be called the Prescott Pyramid. No, just definitely not. Definitely not. Maybe the Lamar Lagoon, the Burrow, I guess maybe. The Burrow, the Allen Alpine. What else do we got here? The Herbert Hierarchy, the Goff's Gauntlet, Hertz's Hurt Locker, Purdy's Paradise, Jaden's Jungle. Ooh, we're doing good with all of these. But definitely not Mahomes Mountain. I know I'm the biggest Mahomes hater. I actually think Mahomes should probably be on the second to last tier. I think you probably have to put him on the same level as Geno Smith and Richardson. For those of you who don't know sarcasm, that's me being sarcastic. Let me know what you guys all think in the comments below. I read every single comment, although I will be with family by the time this video is posted, I do confess. But let me know what you guys' thoughts are all on this one. What do you think? How well do you think this is all aged? Let me know in the comments below. Have an awesome Thanksgiving, and I will see you guys all in the next video.